Back with a vengeance, back on the grinds, back to the business. Ay, God is my witness, they watching my moves like shows they binging. Ay, best keep distance, all of my haters send best of wishes. I get to the bag with the quickness, no I don't need no assistance, no. Yeah, no playing it safe, I said let's get it, you say not today. What can I say, you ain't gon' go for it, get out the way. Yeah, got no time to waste, can't be with me if you're not at my pace. You're not at my level, you're not in my race. One foot on the gas, I'm pushing the brakes. Dancing with the devil, there's no recital. I'm killing competition, ain't no revival. I shoot it to kill it, I'm aiming for vitals. I'm showing no mercy when facing my rivals. Facing the crowds, they getting exposed. I know they be lurking, I'm watching them close. Acting like friends, but really they foes. Saw they be scheming and said adios. Yeah, I gotta get it. Yeah, by any means. I gotta get it, the mindset. I gotta get it, the mindset. I gotta get it, the mindset.
Green flag racing for round 4 of this ISOWC season.
He's defended by Adam Blocker, who's got to do it around the outside.
Oh! Baz lights up, he spun into pit road. Side by side the teammates go. Gustav Grimbergers gets the place done.
Oh, is this huge stuff between the teammates?
Grimbergers holds on, but the rear end of his car is gone. Magnan to the race lead. It's time for the Thunder Down Under as the iRacing IndyCar Open Series heads to Phillip Island, Australia. We are halfway through this season and a new championship favorite has emerged in the form of VRS Satellite Racing's Adam Crane. As we get ready for what should be an action-packed race here from south of the equator, we are delighted you will join us here live once more on RaceSpotTV at the start of a brand new iRacing week. My name is Arjuna Kankipati, delighted to be joined by Wilson Nato in the RaceSpotTV commentary booth. TV cameras not provided by iRacing.com. Instead, they are provided to us by Istvan Ballo and TrackCams22.com. Additional car cameras designed by RaceSpot's own Tyler Maxson. You can follow along with your favorite team and drivers by heading to RaceSpot.tv/Indy to follow along with our partners at ATVO. Wilson, it is great to be racing here from Phillip Island. This is a very, very fun racetrack, but we would be remiss if we didn't mention the sad news of the passing of Wagner Pagaro, a member of this iRacing IndyCar community from your, native Brazil. It is a very sad day. He was part of a big Indy team in Brazil, and I'm sure the rest of our people watching here today will join us in wishing him and his family the best in these difficult times.
Hello, Arjuna. Yeah, hello, everyone. It's a very sad day for the Brazilian Indy community. Yeah, Wagner was a very nice guy, the chief of a very big Indy team in Brazil. So I wish my condolences to his family and his teammates. And that's not the happiest day for him. And I hope we can have a very nice race today in his honor and to everyone else watching the race today.
Well, we were just, when we got this news in this iRacing IndyCar community Discord, a couple of our members instantly remembered his name and the races they've had with him. Not here necessarily in the open side of things, but in the fix. So like we say, our condolences with his family. Halfway through this season then, Wilson, and well, what a roller coaster it's been so far. It really has been the Adam Crane show. Consistency over the course of 6 races so far put him into the championship lead. We start the back half of the season here in Phillip Island, and what a run we've got to the end. Richmond, the Indianapolis GP, the Worldwide Technology Raceway, Watkins Glen, and Pocono to round things off. These are very fun races, 6 of them left to go.
Yeah, you're right. Consistency has been the key for Adam Crane during this season, and I'm really looking forward to see what he will be able to do here tonight. We have a lot of big guys on track as well, so it will not be easy for him. Talking about a little bit more about the track today, it's so good track to race. This track is so joyful to drive, unlike the couple tracks we recently had here in the series, like Mid-Ohio and Hockenheim Ring, where it was way more challenging. This track is so nice, so nice to drive, to fight for positions, to battle in the braking zones, especially because we have a very good weather condition today. The track is quite cold, which means a lot of grip for drivers to put a good show for us tonight. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to see a lot of action here tonight, and a lot of moves, and who is gonna be the winner for tonight's race.
Let's talk a bit about these standings. And now, after halfway through the season, in iRacing, these official championships, 12 race weekends, or rather 12 race weeks, I should say, but only your best 8 points count. We have these championship standings with 2 of those drop weeks applied, and it's a little bit closer than the point standings that we saw last time around, Wilson. Adam Crane only 50 points in front of Phil Kraus, but of course the defending champion Adam Blocker, the gap to him is 120 points. It's great to see some new blood in this championship, the likes of Alexander Van der Sant, the likes of Isaac Morris. It is very much a strong and healthy IndyCar community right now.
Yeah, a lot of fun in terms of championship points, Arjuna, and not to mention that we have 4 teams in the first 4 position in the championship board, so in the standing points. So really happy to see that. Really looking forward to see Crane, Kraus, Van der Sant, and also Blocker and Andrew Wood and Rob, all those guys putting a good fight and for the show until the end of the season. We will have different tracks ahead, so a lot of skills involved, and every driver will be able to show their best here, as we were able to see throughout the season, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of good action waiting for us in the upcoming races.
Let's talk a little bit about this track. And Wilson, you had kind of said that compared to something like a Mid-Ohio or a Barber, it's a little bit easier because there's not necessarily as much elevation change. The downforce that you have does make it a little bit easier, but it really is a wonderful facility. 4.5 kilometers, give or take. Motor racing in Phillip Island began back in 1928. It's got a lot of history. despite the fact that that track was anywhere between 6 to 10 miles when they raced around the public roads. This, though, is a purpose-built facility. The motorcycles come here with MotoGP and the likes. Additionally, you have, the V8 supercars that come here and really put on a show. You've got the fast-flowing turns 1 and 2, but then those switchback hairpins. It's a very interesting challenge that we'll see drivers having to tame here today. It's a long 35-lap race with 1 pit stop expected.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you something, Arjuna. The Australian really knows how to build a very good track. This track is so fun to drive. I did a couple races here back when we used to have the DW12. So yeah, it was 2 races with a lot of fun, a lot of overtakes and challenges. And yeah, we have a lot of fast speed corners here, but we also have a very a huge braking zone going to turn number 4, and in turn number 10 you have a huge elevation in change, so you really must look after your tires right there, otherwise you can lock your front tires and compromise your exit speed in the corner, so you can be like a sitting duck between corners 11 and turn 12 going to the Gardner Straight. So drivers must really keep looking forward and looking after their tires the entire run, because there's plenty of space here for moves, for overtakes, and I'm pretty sure that not only you and myself are willing to see a great race here tonight.
I tell you what, qualifying has come to a close. Let's turn up the most famous song in all of esports. Let's take a look at our starting grid here from Phillip Island. And on pole position, it is Team Talent and Philip Kraus, a 1:11.691. Look at the gap, though, to the outside of the front row. Connor Harrington, less than 200ths of a second of pole position. Sly Andra returns to a Monday night, and it is a VRS satellite racing affair on row number 2. Your championship leader, Adam Crane, will start on the outside of that row. Austin Espetit in the inside of Alexander Van der Sande, who is now joined up, of course, with 3 Crowns Racing and the Indy Alliance program, with Maxwell Brown and Lorenzo Bonder, RaceSpot's own Lorenzo Bonder, completing row number 4. John Martin in 9th with Isaac Morris on the edge of the top 10. Rashad Craig and Chris Wilhite 11th and 12th positions. Alexis Newsom and Victor Aoud will be in 13th and 14th, with Robin Glennox and Anthony Abrota 15th and 16th. Clint Martin and Nathan Reese will share row 9, with Don Day and Eric Miller rounding out the top 20. 1 split of cars here today. It means 26 Indy cars are ready to rumble here in Phillip Island. David Grable and Jacob Oster 21st and 22nd, with Andrew Ellis and Zachary Plome in 23rd and 24th. Final cars, neither of them setting a qualifying lap time. Evan Adams and Jeff Pless 25th and 26th. It's a big field here today, Wilson. It'll be interesting to see if lap traffic plays some sort of a factor.
Yeah, Arjuna, big field. You're right, 26 drivers for the show tonight, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that there will be traffic, so the leaders must really pay attention on everything going on the track. And in terms of pit stop strategy, today it will be pretty much a one-stop strategy, because we will have 35 laps, and the fuel tank here, probably drivers will be able to go up to 20 laps, so it will be pretty much the same strategy we've seen a couple weeks ago in Hockenheim Ring. So the driver can try to do some short pit, like going to the pit lane in lap 17 or 16, and then going to the end of the run. So there's a good window in terms of fuel strategy for tonight. So it will all depends on the tire conservation and their position in track. Track position is always important here. So let's see, and hopefully we can have some good battles and good fights for positions.
And well, I mean, let's talk very briefly about the weather here, where you can see it is very, very cool. It is about 4 p.m. in the virtual Phillip Island, 18 degrees Celsius in the air, 19 degrees Celsius on the track. And the thing that you and I had kind of been talking about coming into this, Wilson, is the potential for black mark tires to be relatively strong, given that there are a couple more high-speed corners here than somewhere like Mid-Ohio or Barber. With these track conditions, with these track temperatures, I don't think we're going to see any car taking to the black mark tire.
Yeah, I don't think that either, Arjuna, so probably will be 2 stints on red tires, but you never know what kind of difference strategy the drivers might be able to do. Even with the cold track temperature, you know, the black tires will take a couple laps more to get into the temperature. And yeah, with such a cold track, I don't think that tire wear will be the problem for these guys here today. And yeah, but let's keep an eye on the tire strategy as well, because if there's a small chance for doing something different, I'm pretty sure that some of the drivers will try to do and try that strategy as well.
No Adam Blocker in today's field. He is not, therefore, I think, going to be putting the pressure onto Adam Crane in that 4th position. It is a Team Talent row 1 with a VRS Satellite Racing row number 2 here. And really, I mean, very briefly, Wilson, where do you think the primary passing opportunity is going to be for these cars here today?
Pretty much between corners 1 and 2, Arjuna, due to the push-to-pass opportunity, so they can do a side-by-side right there and try the move.
So watch out then in through Doohan Corner, named after one of the great motorcycle racers from this part of the world. 35 laps here from Phillip Island, and Phil Kraus picks up the throttle. We are racing from Phillip Island, single file from your top 4, but side by side. So Alexander Van der Sande and Austin Espety who are dueling, and now Connor Harrington is gonna get swarmed. 3 wide, they dive into turn number 1, and Harrington gets hip checked off the road. He runs through the gravel. He's gonna jump through some of those bumps and bangs that you have there on the grass. Harrington is going to have a big penalty to serve. Watch the rejoin here. The private label Team Hype car resets himself back onto pit road. Adam Crane has already used 2 of his push to passes as we come down into Honda Corner, this heavy braking zone. Maxwell Brown throws it down the inside of Austin Espety. What a chaotic start there. I think that's Robin Glennox who is getting swarmed. No, that's John Martin with Isaac Morris down the inside.
A very chaotic start, Arjuna. Unfortunately for Harrington, he just went straight forward into the grass, and there was not much he could do because brake was useless right there, so he just tried to hold the car as much as possible, even though he had a small damage on his front wing, and race is over for him.
And that is going to be heartbreak then for Harrington, because a very good qualifying performance has now come unstuck. This is Martin and Morris still squabbling it out, locking the brakes down in towards Lukey Heights and that tricky turn 10. Out front, though, already 0.6 of a second clear. It is Phil Kraus, but Adam Crane is hunting him down, throwing themselves into turn number 1. 1 second separates the top 3. Austin Espety tries to get the place back down on Maxwell Brown, but Brown will have the inside of the very tricky southern loop. You can run so many different lines around there, but more momentum, more downforce maybe for Austin Espety. He holds on to the position for now.
And still talk a little bit about the start. Arjuna, Kraus used the push to pass to defend himself before corners number 1. That's a very nice move right there in corner number 4. Let's see that.
He tried the over-under, did Espety. Big lock of the brakes from Brown, but it gives the inside back to Maxwell Brown in through Siberia, the switchback section where inside becomes the outside, outside becomes the inside. Clint Martin is off the track and pointed in the wrong direction. Interesting start to this race. 26 Indy cars is sometimes a little bit scary here, Wilson.
Yeah, it might be a little bit scary because lap time here is quite short. I mean, like 1 minute and 15, probably 1 minute 14, maybe 13. Let's see how will be the pace for these cars tonight in tonight's race. So yeah, there's a lot of action in terms of lap traffic, but also in terms of overtaking possibilities in the race.
These two are still side by side. Espety's on the button now as Phil Kraus has the fastest lap, a 1:12.880. Further action behind John Martin and Isaac Morris squabbling it out. What a chaotic start we've had here, and really your race leader has been unable to run away. Alexander Van der Sande has been bundled off the road as well. There's another car off in the gravel. There you take a look at the new addition to the Indy Alliance program with 3 Crowns Racing. He will have to roll himself back onto track, but he's now a 12 position loss, 14 position loss as he continues to tumble down the order. The top 3 have broken away from that battle further behind, and no! Well, RaceSpot's own Lorenzo Bonder, something's happened to him as he's trying to get himself back up to racing speed.
Yeah, the car of Maxwell Brown just lost gears. Rear end of this car going out of turn 4. And Lorenzo had nowhere to go and had a bit of damage, I guess. So let's see if he'll be able to keep on the track or he must bring his car to the pit stop.
Look at that, though. Sayanja really turning the screws to his teammate as they come in through. I would guess this is turn 11 and 12 to complete lap number 3. I think this is the perfect time as I say things have calmed down, but you never really want to say that. You can see Connor Harrington, by the way, is leaving the pit road. There he is on that longer pit exit. He's going to feed right into the path of the race leader and his teammate, Phil Kraus. Let's go take a look at that start, Wilson, and see if we can figure out exactly what happened here, because it was 3 wide. It was very bold, very risky. Adam Crane getting on the button, and Connor Harrington really losing out.
Yeah, clearly we can see here that Crane was on the bottom and had a bit of speed going to turn number 1 and had a small contact with Connor Harrington. Unfortunately for him, he went straight to the grass, and from there he just really had nothing he could do to break his car, to stop, prevent his car to going back to the track, because it's pretty much a straight line right here, and a bit of net code as well, as you can see. So yeah, very unfortunate start for Harrington, and let's see what King can do here to fight for the win against Kraus.
One more look at it, and I'm just a little confused as, it's not really a jink to the left from Crane. I mean, he was more just trying to make the corner itself, but unfortunate there that contact happened, and Harrington really the big loser in that scenario. Let's go take a look at a couple of the other incidents. Let's see if we can scroll back and take a look at what happened to Van der Sant. Might be by himself, gets onto the grass, and that's a big snap of oversteer. He's very lucky that he doesn't end up in the tire barrier there.
Yeah, those kind of snaps scary sometimes to catch the car. Yeah, a bit of, he just touched the grass and just lost grip, all the grip on the right rear wheel in his car. So yeah, but he was lucky to not wreck or anything and be back on the track.
Oh, and that's what happened to our colleague Lorenzo Bonder, then explains, well, he's very lucky that front wing reappears just magically, as it sometimes does tend to do, Wilson. Let's go ahead and maybe take one more look at that. Maxwell Brown really was fighting very, very hard. He lit up the rears, and well, Bonder had nowhere to go.
Yeah, it was interesting to see that battle between Brown and Ospiti. I mean, Ospiti had already to use 2 push to pass by that time, so Brown was really pushing hard, and by the moment he tried to find grip out of turn number 4, he just lost the rear end of the car, ending up spinning, and very unlucky for our commentary booth mate Lorenzo Bonder, who had a small damage in his front wing.
That is Evan Adams going a little bit deep. Let's take one more look at this as we work our way through some of these replays. I think it was Van der Sant just poking his nose and applying that pressure. I think something subsequent happens to Alexander Van der Sant. So let's go scroll a little bit further forward and take a look at what happened to the number 9 car. This is down the hill in turn 10. Very tricky to get that car. You can see behind, car going deep, car locking up, and Van der Sant has to go for a bit of an off-track excursion before he rejoins back in 21st position. We got 2 more replays to take a look at. Phillip Island is really taking no prisoners. Jeff Pless in the number 26 car locks the inside front going in through Honda. That is turn number 4. The Carolina native will slowly make his way back onto track. There was a bit more of a terminal incident for the number 17 car. Let's take a look here coming into Siberia.
It's Victor Awad, unfortunately for him, he just went straight forward. And yeah, probably end of the race for him. He's trying to do his best, because I know he's doing some other Indy Open Road Championship, so he's probably trying to get experience in this car, but unfortunately for him tonight, the race didn't end up very well.
Well, that took up about 3 laps of action there. So back to the live coverage. Hasn't been too much in terms of the on-track action at the front of your field. Can see now Phil Kraus. I avoided making the pun at the start of the race, but Phil on his own island has taken pole position and now leads the field. And yes, the YouTube chat has pointed that out as well. But 0.8 was the gap coming down into turn number 1. Kraus is clear of Connor Harrington, but the 2 VRS Satellite Racing cars well and truly are trying to close the gap. Lorenzo Bonder down the inside of Alexis Newsom. That's for 10th position as Bonder tries to recover from that slight moment, and Glenix puts a tire onto the gravel. Able to hold on to that one and keep things going. In front of them is Maxwell Brown, who of course did light up the rear tires, so 9th position on back.
Yeah, a lot of action going on right there, and it's curious to see that Maxwell Brown apparently lost half of his wing, but either way he's still being able to hold his car on the track. So very curious to see, Arjuna, if when he bring his car to his pit stop, if that 5-second repair will be required or not, because honestly I wouldn't think that would be possible to keep driving this track with half of the front wing, the same way we've seen a lot of years ago in IndyCar. So yeah, very interesting to see how that will go and how that we went by the end of this first stint.
And I think this is going to stack up the rest of these guys, and that gap to Chris Wilhite in front is already 3 seconds and extending as Rashard Craig in the midst of that battle will get on the button, trying to close to John Martin. Isaac Morris in 5th is now about 5 and a bit seconds behind Austin Espety. The move is coming from Lorenzo Bonder, though, on the button. He goes for the second time today, pulls himself to the outside line, and of course, minimal downforce on Maxwell Brown. He will not want to try and hang it out side by side in through turn number 1. Bonder's into 9th position, and there's a lot of cars kicking up gravel here, Wilson. A little bit too risky, if you ask me.
Yeah, it is a little bit risky because you have a bit of gravel and a bit of dirt on the right side of on the right edge of the corner. So sometimes if you go a little bit further than the limit, you can lose the car.
Deep send from Brown. I don't know if Bonder's really going to appreciate that one. Still side by side as they head in towards turn number 6. This is cambered in. Bonder gets a little bit loose. There's a wiggle there. It's a lapped car that will let them go through. Brown has the position back. And once more, all this really does is pull them further behind the gaps in front of them. So they're going to have to get themselves ordered up, almost about halfway through a fuel one right now as they go down the hill hard on the brakes. Newsom going rather gingerly, trying to just roll herself onto the power coming in through the penultimate corner. And once more, I would expect Lorenzo Bonder to get on the button and try and get this move done, Wilson.
Yeah, here comes Lorenzo. Let's see how that will work for him right now. Probably going for a different line this time by, so the inside line, so is Alexis, and let's see how that will go by the end of turn 1 and going to turn number 2.
Such a great track because the switchbacks are very, very opportunistic. Just lets you try and fight things rather than having to concede. And Brown, despite the damage that he's got to the front of his car, is doing a wonderful job to hold on. Now Bonder will have the outside of Honda corner. That downforce doesn't seem to be helping him. Once more, it's Brown deep under the brakes, and Lorenzo gives him just enough space. And the status quo does remain. Let's look forward, at least for the time being, and let's check in with your race leaders. Connor Harrington is tucked in behind his teammate. Of course, now 2 laps down from the rest of your field. Adam Crane is starting to fall off the pace very slightly. It was only 2 tenths or so, I should say a tenth and a half, separating them last time around. And Phil Kraus gets on the button, trying to set the fastest lap, I think, this time around.
And a very interesting situation right there, Arjuna, because Kraus has a teammate right behind him, so he can help to protect him from the Adam Crane move, so which makes sense. So Kraus maybe can have a better chance to win, but nothing is decided yet. They still have to pit, and strategy might come into play, undercut, overcut. We'll have to wait and see how that race strategy will unfold in the next few laps.
Bonder back on the buttons, already burned through 4 of his push-to-passes. That's the Yao Vaz strategy, and it has the position, at least for the time being. Evan Adams is off the track once more in the number 24 car. Doesn't look like there's too much damage there. This is Rashard Craig and Chris Wilhite as they work their way in towards turn number 4. This time around, I think Brown is a little bit too far to try and sling it down the inside. Bonder locks up the inside front, but nothing doing. Now the question is, what has happened to Jacob Oster in the Total Downforce Racing number 12?
Yeah, bit of momentum right there for Jacob, probably going to turn number 4. And it's been interesting to see, Arjuna, how many drivers are having issues with front tire locking. We always talk a lot about that. No, that was not the other car. Was Evan Adams. Yeah, but we're seeing a lot of drivers locking up the front tires that might hurt their tires by the end of their stint. So let's keep an eye on maybe we can have another spins or cars going out of the track, because this track is fun to drive, but the hard brake zone is so challenging.
That was the 14, I do believe. Let's go and take one more look at this. Wasn't exactly sure what had gone on there, and Jacob Oster is very lucky to have not had significant, I should say, rear end damage. On board Let's Jump with Robin Glennox well and truly up there in the standings, and Oster's kind of just in the middle of the track, which he is perfectly entitled to do, and well, and Glennox unable to get on the anchors in time, and well, Oster is the biggest loser in that situation.
Yeah, very unlucky for Jacob, right in the braking zone, in the hard braking zone, going to turn number 4. So he just went out of the track, but Jacob is still on the track, so is Rob. So let's see what they can do for the end of the race.
Oh no, and both of those cars off the track. Significant damage to Glennox. Oster, I think, a separate incident. Oh my word, this track, I saw someone in the chat saying I was making some prison references when it comes to Australia. I would not dare I'm just saying, really no prisoners being taken here today. And Glennox gets it wrong in through Siberia, noses it in towards the tire bundles, and well, instantly the Michigan native finds his championship point situation going for a little bit of a struggle. I do wonder if there's damage to the rear end there. Well, nope, like you said, Wilson, just another car locking up the inside fronts. And well, I think we've got one more replay to go take a look at. Something's happened to Andrew Ellis. This is in the number 21 car, still in 13th position. This is coming in through the crest of turn 9, Lukey Heights, and look at him going for a bit of a spin, but very fortunate to keep that in one piece.
Yeah, and we see, Arjuna, that this is a fun track to drive, but nevertheless, it's a very challenging track, not only in terms of braking zones, but also in terms of reacceleration points. Right here, we can see Ellis just going straight forward into the grass. So, yeah, very tricky track, I might say, but very fun to drive. But if you reaccelerate too early or just miss your braking points, you're going straight to the grass and lose off the grip and sometimes hit the barriers and ending up your race.
Lorenzo, you are stuck behind Maxwell Brown once more. We're going to have to tease him after this, Wilson, because, I mean, he's got the advantage of not having any damage, and he's still unable to get the move done and keep the position. This is still 9th, 10th, and 11th. They're only about 3.5 seconds behind. So as we enter that pit stop window, 13 laps into this race, never say never. You were talking about drivers maybe playing that pit window perfectly and coming down at the right point in time. We may see that from the Brazilian as he pokes his nose to the outside line.
Yeah, let's see how they will fire here once again, going to corner number 1 and turn number 2.
I'm sorry, Wilson. There's another car that's gone off the track. This time it's Clint Martin has instantly reset himself back onto pit road. We will jump back to the RaceSpotTV replay machine. There is all sorts of carnage and chaos right now. This is David Graybill in the number 20. Ooh! Jacob Oster had a bit of a brown pants moment, and I think that's Clint Martin. That's the car that made contact with David Graybill that we saw in the tire barrier. Let's jump on board. Puff of smoke, nowhere for Martin to go, and instantly that left front has gone for a ride.
Yeah, nowhere to go for Martin. Unfortunately for him, just hit the wall again, and very unfortunate. He's been right before corner number 10. And one interesting thing to notice here, Juna, because it seems that Lorenzo has also a small damage in his front wing, right on the right side. So maybe that's a fair battle because both have damage on their front wing, so that's why it might be interesting to see. Let's see if when they beat, if there will be a difference in
I'm sorry, there's another car that's gone off the track. I don't even want to go and take a look at it now because Alexis Newsom is on the button for the first time today. Does she make it 3 wide? She thought about it, but she thought better. Brown is really holding up these queue of cars right now. I'm just going to be a bit harsh because of course it's Lorenzo. We can't say nice things about Lorenzo. I can't really see that damage, at least from this vantage point that we've got. While all of this carnage and chaos is going on, Jacob Oster side by side with the 23 of Zachary Flom. This is for 14th and 15th position. Not sure if you noticed out front, Wilson, the gap is now only about 0.6 of a second at this point in time.
Yeah, only 0.6 of a second. Crane was able to overtake the Connor Harrington car, and the fight for the win is still in the air, so it's a real track position right now. So Crane is right on the draft of Kraus. There's a good chance of trying some undercut moves, and he's going to his speed, or even try some move in the track. Push to passes wise, there's still six push to passes for Kraus, 7 for Crane. So yeah, a lot of opportunities here for both of drivers to fight for the win, Arjuna.
Kraus is really going through those push to passes. You can see left side of the screen, those numbers right now. Cy Andre really in the Katzberg seat with none of his push to passes used, which is not necessarily what you want to do, Wilson. I mean, there is a fuel cost to be paid for using the extra 70 horsepower that you get down when you get on the button and rely on it to push you forward. But Cy Andre is seemingly comfortable, returns to a Monday night here right behind his teammate. Let's see what he decides to do, because of course the golden rule of racing, whether it be virtual or real, is don't hit your teammates, and Adam Crane is well and truly in the championship fight. I'm sorry, Wilson, but I just cannot believe the number of replays that I think we're going to have to go take a look at after you finish your point here.
Yeah, let's go for that, Arjuna. But yeah, you're right, Arjuna. Cy Andre has a good opportunity in terms of push to pass to use his rear, because he can do an outlap spamming those push to pass, or even do an overcut using those push to passes when Kraus and when Crane when they do their pit stop. So there's a small chance here, but let's see if he is going to do that move or not, because he probably don't want to steal points from his teammate in the championship lead.
You can also see on the track map just how splintered this field has got. The 14 of Robin Glennox is in front of these cars, but blinking very slightly. You do wonder what that does to the psyche of some of these drivers. Kraus will get on through as we come down into Honda corner. At some point we will go ahead and take a look at these replays, but I don't. We're gonna go have to do it now. Because Alexis Newsom and Maxwell Brown have got together. I tell you what, let's go through the entire list and work our way through all of these incidents, because there's really no getting around it right now, and I hope you can tell that we're having a little bit of fun with this race, even though it is very carnage filled. This is what I was mentioning for the number 25 car, down the hill through Lukey Heights, and just, I think, snaps around on him on that weight transfer. Then there was a second car. This was Andrew Ellis, who comes through the scene of the crime, and, well, rear end snaps around on him. Maybe just those rear tire temperatures a little bit too high. Goes for a bit of a hop, skip, and a jump. Then you've got John Martin, who was side by side with a car coming down in through turn 1. Ran himself into the grass, and it's a dangerous place to run wide because you rejoin right onto the track. Martin does a very good job to hold on to it. No one is safe. The RaceSpotTV replay machine is an all-seeing, all-consuming belief. Jeff Pless off down in through turn number 4. Then we've got Zachary Flom. Oh, another car victim of the penultimate corner. Then we've got our top 5 in the championship car. Robin Glennox, the Michigan native. This is coming over the hill, the crest of Lukey Heights. Down he goes. And once more, not a great place that you want to be going for a bit of a tumble. This is the one that I was really looking out for. Lorenzo Bonder just hit from behind, and I think Maxwell Brown has well and truly lost his front wing, and there was subsequent contact with Alexis Newsom here, Wilson.
Yeah, that was wild, Arjuna. I mean, probably he's lost his brake point and went straight in the back of Lorenzo's car, and Alexis she was right behind him and had nowhere to go, so very unlucky for Alexis. She was being very patient right there behind those 2 cars, but you'll see right here that from the moment they hit the cars, she had nowhere to go, and it was very unfortunate for him.
Wilson, while we've been spending all of this time under replay, Phil Kraus has lost it from the race lead. It's coming through the penultimate corner, and big drama then. The Team Talent car is straight down onto pit lane. Your championship leader finds himself at the pointy end of the race.
Yeah, it isn't easy even for Phil Kraus tonight, Arjuna. He just lost traction going out of turn 12, so right here, he just lost the rear end of his car, clipped the curb and ending up spinning. I'm not sure if he had damage or not, but yeah, big moment for him.
This is just madness. There is no other way to put it. On board with your championship leader, who now controls the action here from Phillip Island. We will rejoin the live pictures and, well, try and ascertain exactly what is happening, because Phil Kraus is coming out of pit road. This is halfway through the race, so he should be good. Syandra has been in the box for an awfully long time. My suspicion here, Wilson, would be a pit lane penalty.
Yeah, probably, because he's more than 60 seconds right now. Probably 6 seconds or so. Yeah, probably a pit speed penalty, 40 seconds. So yeah, very unlucky for him.
Let's take a look at this one. He comes down. Let's jump on board with the VRS Satellite Racing driver, taking a look at the speeds if we can. Oh, yeah, that's a bit of an indication that he sped when you lock up both of your front tires and go that little bit of a wiggle that you get, Wilson. And, well, what is it about Phillip Island that everyone seems to just be throwing themselves away from potential race victory here? Because Adam Crane is down on pit lane. He's going to roll himself off the box, I would think, with a full tank of fuel, 4 fresh Firestone tires, and back into the control of this race.
Yeah, one thing here, that is very challenging is because you don't have much those visual reference, like we have for Watkins Glen and other tighter tracks. So here sometimes you must get the reference, sometimes in terms of speed, in terms of gears. So that visual reference are not always clear in terms of track position or some board or some indication that sometimes can also this festival of drivers going out of the track and losing their braking points.
Let's watch this race off of pit road. Maxwell Brown has a brand new front wing, but Alexis Newsom will get out in front, and they're using that shorter pit road access, which does feed you back directly onto the racing line. And oh no, Phil Kraus has had another mistake. I believe this would be coming in through turn 4, because he's working his way in towards Siberia corner. Let's go ahead and take a look at what happened to the Wisconsin native. Deep under the brakes he goes. There was a car that are locked up separately. And what is going on? Adam Crane has had an incident as well. My word, I am absolutely just lost for words, for lack of a better term. Excuse me here, Wilson. Let's go take a look at this. And it's self-inflicted down through Lukey Heights. The championship leader is very lucky to still be in one piece.
Yeah, I think he was still in the good position by the end of the race. Not sure if he'll be able to still win the race. We have to see after everybody pit stop. But yeah, very lucky for him when he was going downhill. Just lost his momentum and went straight to grass once again. But yeah, lucky for him, he didn't hit anything. Just lost a few seconds right there, and he's still back on the fight.
And I tell you what, I mean, Austin Espety at one point was about 9 seconds adrift from the race lead, but you can tell he is in the fight right now. Only less than a second separates Espety and Crane. And at the end of the day, Wilson, you keep it on track at this point in time, you might still have a victory at the end of this race. We're almost 15 laps to go here.
That's right, Arjuna. We'll never know. Just keep your car on the track and you'll have a good position by the end of the race. This is probably the rhythm for tonight, and the meta of the game. So really looking forward to see what Austin SPT has to offer against Crane. He's been doing such a great race here, and still have a very good chance to fight for the win.
I hope those watching at the YouTube chat are enjoying this as much as I am, because this has been maybe not exhilarating racing, but it has been well and truly an entertainment spectacle. And just a reminder, these are public races. Anyone can join here on a Monday night. You can head on over to iRacing.com to start your iRacing career. Work your way up the ladder. We have Indy Pro 2000 that sits right below this iRacing IndyCar Open Championship. Can start in the Formula V now, recently added to the iRacing service, and of course the very famous and very popular Skip Barber, which so many drivers have started their runs to World Championship glory and success here on the iRacing service. Things have calmed down, at least for the time being, Wilson. I mean, we saw that great battle between RaceSpot's Lorenzo Bonder and Maxwell Brown. Of course, now the pit cycle has kind of shaken that up just a little bit. Most of the cars now separated by a full second or so, other than this battle for the race lead.
Yeah, the battle for the race lead still on. Let's see for how long Austin can keep on Crane's draft, and also if he can close that gap and still use a push to pass to challenge Crane for the racing lead. However, that does not seem very easy to do because Crane is on a very good pace. He was able to keep up with Kraus throughout the first stint, and it's really thinking in the championship points and to do a very good race here. So yeah, very, very good job for Adam Crane tonight once again, Arjuna.
And I tell you what, Wilson, I mean, I'm taking a look on my timing screen and I'm seeing more things that I'm just not going to go take a look at it at this point. I mean, we'll just leave it as it is. The RaceSpot TV replay machine doesn't miss a thing, and if something big happens, yes, we'll go take a look at it. But this is the thing about these Monday night races, isn't it, Wilson? You've got the first race of the iRacing week. This is literally as the timetable switches over from week to week. It's the championship race. It's when the strongest drivers always show up knowing that the most points are on the line. But when you get these, I don't want to say it's unfortunate, but these big grids, 26 cars, I mean, usually we don't see any more than 19 or 20 when we have, multiple splits of action. It is one big field with a very wide range of driving ability.
Yeah, it's quite rare to see one split only, but yeah, I think that the drivers just feel the pressure for having such a challenging track. We are seeing tonight a lot of talented drivers struggling throughout their race runs. We've seen Phil Kraus, we've seen Adam Crane doing minor mistake. Only one driver who is doing a flawless race so far is this one on the track, the Karma number 5 from Austin SPT, still fighting for the win. And yeah, Arjuna, this is the beauty of this car, the challenge, the braking zones changing, the change in the weight of the car and the track temperature and all the things that is so fun to race this car, and always a challenge for every driver who accepts the challenge and put the car on show.
Well, and one thing that I don't think we really talked about when we were discussing weather is, once again, some relatively strong gusts of wind, and trying to understand from the track map which way it's blowing. Roughly coming out of turn 10 at the bottom of the hill where we're seeing these cars now, we'll jump on board with Austin Espety here. Roughly here, the wind is blowing across, so north is basically directly pointed out of the corner, and the wind is blowing at almost 20 kilometers an hour westward. Maybe it helps explain a little bit of what we've seen through that penultimate corner.
Yeah, you're right, Arjuna, because wind gusts is already an extra challenge for the drivers, so it's something that they always must be prepared to face it during the race, so that sometimes helps to having a spotter giving the right calls and the right direction of where the wind is blowing, so you can get more prepared when you're in a braking zone, or when you're or especially when you're in a fast corner, because this track has a lot of fast corners, so that can change the balance of the car and upset it right in the middle of the corner. So that might be one of the reasons. But yeah, you never know, and that's the challenge of the things and the funny part of this track.
Jason Brophy in the YouTube chat says that, Wilson, you just done the commentators curse down on Austin Espety, but let's be real, you've not got a track record of that here on RaceSpotTV. That would be Lorenzo Bonder, who, of course, who can forget last time the ISOWC was in action, cursed not one, but two different drivers, literally, as he was saying, very nice things about their runs. First Graham Sanders, and I think then it was Manuel Domingo having some sort of issue. And now Alexis Newsom is the latest one to have an issue. This is fairly major. Newsom is a very strong competitor we've seen here in the IRA team, but also in the Lionheart Speedway Series. Let's go take a look at how Newsom came unstuck.
Once again, turn number 4, just missed his break point, went straight to the grass, and yeah, very unlucky for her. Just lost a few seconds, but yeah, no major issues for her.
Oh, Robin Glennox. Oh, can he save this car? Into the tire, or can he hang on? The 14 does hang on to it, but at least for now, spins it around and we'll get back on track. I saw one more replay, which we will go take a look at because he is part of our iRacing IndyCar community, and well, you don't get a free pass when something happens here. It's David Graybill. Let's take a look down the inside of the 25, and oh, there's a bit of a coming together, and don't think either of those cars necessarily wanted it to go like that. That was Antonio Prota in the 25 car, and I think Graybill has some significant damage. He's had to roll himself back on towards pit lane. We will jump back to the front of your field. It is getting closer and closer. Now only 4 and a bit tenths separating these two cars as Adam Crane is feeling the pressure, using that push to pass to try and pull away.
Yeah, and I really wish that I didn't have cursed Austin, to say, as Brophy has said, because we really want to see the fight for the winner, Juna, and Austin is doing such a good job. He's such a great guy, so yeah, really looking forward to see him challenging Crane by the end of the race.
There's 2 battles to keep our eyes on, because Isaac Morris is now being closed down by Phil Krause, who slings it down the inside of some lap traffic in that quest to try and challenge for that 3rd position. Final step on the podium has in fact been swapped around as Morris got through. Let's go ahead and take a look at how that swap happened, because I wonder if it was lap traffic or just a mistake from Krause. It was a mistake from Krause, who lit up the rears coming in through turn 10 at the bottom of the hill. Let's go and ride on board with the Appleton, Wisconsin native. And here you can see lots of entry speed. Doesn't even light up the rears. He only lights up the rears when he's on that AstroTurf on the outside of the track. And Isaac Morris gets on through, and now pressure's on Phil Krause to try and get that 3rd position back.
Yeah, a lot of traction issues right there for Krause, the same way he spun a few laps ago, so not an easy corner to go out of it. You need to be gentle in your throttle inputs.
Oh! Alexander Van der Sande has gotten mixed up with lap traffic. This is in that battle for 8th and 9th position, but it might be for 6th and 7th, because here comes Chris Wilhite. He is very, very fortunate to have gotten through that incident down the bottom of the hill once more at turn number 10. Really, I didn't make the joke on purpose last time, but I think I do have to make the joke. Really no prisoners being taken here by Phillip Island. Oh, Phil Krause throws it down the inside of the southern loop, and Krause retakes 3rd position.
Yeah, very nice move by Kraus. Little bit of slide on his car, but he was able to keep his car under control, and nice move and nice overtake. Let's see how that will end by here, by turn number 4.
Morris was having a very, very strong running in his ISO WC debut until, well, what can you say other than a landmine, as we would call it here on the sim, made his race come unstuck. And in terms of movers and shakers, he's been one of the biggest recipients of this carnage-filled race. You can see Morris and Craig are both up 6 positions so far in this top 10. Syandra, of course, down 7. Evan Adams, despite the fact that he has been caught out by this penultimate corner, I think, twice here in this race, Wilson, up 10 positions, double digits into 15 spot.
Yeah, very nice race for him. We've seen a lot of mistakes tonight, so not an easy track to keep your car on the track and get that much of spots. So yeah, very nice race. And meanwhile, the battle for the race still on. And one thing that I'm interested to ask the drivers, Arjuna, by the end of the race is how hard is the car, because it seems that they are having some tire temperature issues, especially on the rears.
I just cursed Evan Adams. I think that sums up how this race has gone. I mean, what an interesting day it's been so far. And Wilson, you're only half a season into your, career here in RaceSpotTV. You're a very accomplished commentator in Portuguese, but I think it's fair to say it's been a trial by fire in some of these iRacing IndyCar Open races.
Yes, you're right. I think maybe we can start chatting about the Olympic Games. Otherwise, we will keep cursing everyone on the track. So, unfortunately for everyone on the track, it's been a very tricky race tonight. And let's see how the battle for the race will end right here tonight.
Oh, and now Alexander Van der Sant has lit up the rear tires, trying to spin his car around. That has let Lorenzo Bonder and Syandra through. I swear, we've spent as much time in replays as we have following the live action here. And, well, just a little bit too fast into the corner, potentially, because the rear end just moving around on him, just not when you want it. You need that confidence, especially in through turn number 4. Oh, Alexis Newsom, fastest lap of the race, a 1:12.383. I did not notice when that one had come in. But, wow, that is a very quick lap time, Lorenzo. That is Wilson, sorry. I'm trying to look at Lorenzo on my timing screen as well, but that is half a second, Wilson, faster than Phil Kraus with a 1:12.880.
Yeah, probably she used a couple push to pass right there just double checking that. She had 2 push to pass to have that good lap. So yeah, pretty impressive lap time. Very nice lap time by Alexis right here tonight,
Newsom is a very strong oval competitor, but not necessarily the most comfortable and confident when it comes to road course racing, but I do believe she will be making her Lionheart IndyCar Series debut this coming Wednesday as they head across the pond to Silverstone for what should be a thrilling 34-lap affair, I do believe it will be. Connor Harrington is right behind these cars, and of course Harrington will be looking to close the gap to Adam Blocker in that championship fight. You can see the timing tower is lit up like a Christmas tree once more. A number of drivers getting on that push-to-pass button. Syandra is mixed up with Maxwell Brown, and, well, more carnage, more chaos. Alexander Van der Sant will at least take a couple of positions back here, but what happens here, Wilson? I think these cars must have come together.
Yeah, it was pretty much the same issue he had with Lorenzo. Yeah, just lost his braking point going into downhill and hit Syandra's car. So, a bit of a deja vu from a few laps ago.
That was an interesting look at the Phillip Island racetrack there. Not sure what happened, but yeah, you can see the 11 car just down the inside, locks up the brakes, and has looked fairly rapid at points in this race, even when he's had damage to that car. But now it's Syandra that's got the damage to the right front. With 6 laps to go, the battle for the race lead is down to 2/10, and Adam Crane is on the button as we come across the start-finish line. 5 laps to go here from the land down under.
Yeah, Crane is on push to defend right now because Austin had a very good run out of turn 12, so here they come.
Looking rearwards from the VRS satellite racing machine, the sun is well and truly starting to set here, and of course we are racing in the virtual July, which does mean it is not summer but winter down in Australia. Explains those slightly cooler track temperatures and the general conditions that we're seeing also explains why that sun is so low. Look at how close Espity gets in through turn number 4, but he needs to be side by side to try and get something done here, but he's running out of time, Wilson. It's only about 5 minutes left in this race.
Running out of time, I think, will be even more interesting on the latest laps of the race because, you know, Arjuna, this kind of issue they are having with the rear tires reminds me a lot of a couple builds ago when we had to baby drive some corners in Road America. Otherwise, you lost grip real quick and real hard. So, yeah, it's probably been a very challenging driving right here for Austin and Crane. So it's not the easiest test to do, but they must keep focused and keep their car on the track and doing this great show for us.
Espety's on the button. He's got 2 usages left. Crane still has 3, so the upper hand at that point in time. And down in towards turn number 1, Kraus, Morris, they're on the button as well, separated by 0.4 of a second as they try and squabble for that 3rd and final step on the podium. But really, Espety is coming on strong here, and tire conservation, even with the lower track temperatures, Wilson, it is really crucial, both in the front and the rear.
Yeah, and it seems that it is especially tonight, Arjuna, in the rear when you're out of corners because it seems that it's overheating quite easily despite the low track temperatures. But you know, it's a track with a lot of fast corners, so that adds a lot of tire temperature, especially on the rears when you're trying to find traction. And not to mention that you have different braking zones here with as the fuel burns, so you must look after your front tires to have a good rubber by the end of the race.
Alexander Van der Sant sweeps around the outside of Maxwell Brown. Rashad Craig pointed in the wrong direction. He will have to light up the rear end to try and spin himself around, but I wonder if the rear end of his car is significantly compromised. We will jump to the RaceSpotTV replay machine and take a look at what happened to Rashad Craig, a perennial top 10 runner in this championship. The number 23 goes a bit deep, and well, they come together, contact there, and unfortunately, the big loser in that situation was Rashad Craig, who will lose a top 10 finish. As we rejoin the live pictures, we jump back to the front of your field, and we're coming into the last 3 laps of the race. Austin Espety is running out of time.
Running out of time, he still have 2 push to passes, so has Crane. So it will be a very interesting push to pass here. So I think that by this moment of the race, Austin is just trying to keep on the track, just trying to play it on the safe side and put some pressure on Crane to keep on his draft and maybe force Adam Crane to have a small error so he can try that move. So yeah, let's see, very interesting move for both drivers right here, you know.
If anything, I think we need to watch more for this battle as, oh no, Lorenzo Bonda is off the track. You better bet that we're going to go and take a look at what happened to our RaceSpotTV colleague up here in the booth. Coming into the closing stages, but still through Lukey Heights. That's not Lukey Heights, that's the Southern Loop, I would believe. Just snaps around on him, and let's jump on board with your countryman here, Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, it seems another rear tire temperatures issue, Arjuna, because, you know, he will just lose right here. He just lost the rear end of the car in the middle of the corner, which was supposed, yeah, and here comes Austin.
Around the outside, can he do it through the Southern Loop? It's 2 laps to go. Both of them have 1 push to pass left. Nothing doing for now, and Austin Espety has about 9 kilometers left to make something happen here. He was close for a moment, but you do, I think, want to be on the outside here in the IndyCar. Wilson coming through turn number 1 as Adam Crane locks the inside front.
Yeah, he tried to give his best, Arjuna, but I'm pretty sure he was not planning to do anything very aggressive, you know, due to the championship implications, because Crane is the leader, so he probably is fighting for the win. But yeah, he pretty sure he's trying to do that the pretty conservative way that as he can. So we still might have opportunity to see the move right here. We still have 1 lap to go, and let's see what these drivers can bring for the show in the next lap and final lap for the race tonight, Arjuna.
Here we go. It is 1 lap and about 1.5 minutes before the checkered flag will fly here for the Thunder Down Under. The top 2 are on the button, and who is it going to be that leads out of turn number 2? They may be the one in control of their own fate. Espety is ducking and diving. He is not close enough, but still on the button. He is closing. Outside line for Southern Loop. We've seen Espety make it work before. He will have to try the over-under here and get the run down into turn 4.
Yeah, nice defending by Crane right there, Arjuna. But they still have to do side-by-side right here in turn number 4.
But now, is this really going to be the switchback potentially from Espity? No, because Crane parks it on the apex, doesn't even leave. Austin Espity with a chance out of Siberia. It should be Crane in control with this, but now you never know. Could the late lunge come down the hill and through turn 10? Here we go, one final opportunity. Espity is going to try, I would hope, make things interesting, just a little bit too far behind, and both of them lock up coming in through turn 10. What a race it has been. The Thunder Down Under, it was more like a Royal Rumble, and the last man standing is your championship leader. It is Adam Crane that will take victory in round 7 of the iRacing IndyCar Open Championship. But what a race we had. It was multiple people leading, and at the end of the day, it really was last man standing, and the championship leader extends his championship advantage. I did notice that Alexander Van der Sant had a little bit of an issue coming in through the last couple of laps. Phil Kraus holds on after that mistake through the penultimate corner to the last step of the podium. Isaac Morris kept him honest all the way to the line. Close battle between John Martin and Chris Wilhite. This is for 5th and 6th position. I think if you had told Chris Wilhite he was going to get a 6th position at the end of 35 laps, he would tell you you're crazy and tell you to maybe help him give some lottery numbers for the next time he heads to try and get some lottery tickets. Lorenzo Bonder, he'll hold off Maxwell Brown. This is for 7th and 8th positions. Alexis Newsom about a second behind as we wait for Syandra to complete the top 10. While we wait for the race to come to a close here, Wilson, let's go take a look at what happened to Alexander Van der Sant in that closing stages here. This is an interesting one because this is going to be coming out of Siberia. This is cambered in. You can carry a bit more speed in than you would expect, but I think Alexander just lit up the rear tires here.
Yeah, because sometimes you have to short shift right there out of the corner, or to prevent some rear tire spinning. But yeah, it was a trend tonight's race. A lot of traction issues for the drivers, not only braking zones issues as well. So very challenging race here, Juna. I would say it was one of the funniest race I've been working as a commentator in a whole time. So yeah, it's
wait, who's that? Sorry. Someone is going tumbling. It was Jacob Oster. Let's go take a look at that replay because I think Oster with a bit of a frustrating race. Oh, I've seen this before. The last time I commentated on a race here at Phillip Island, it was the Real Racers Formula Club. Let's go take a look at this one. And I think he's just, gone for a little bit of a X Games kind of move coming out of turn number 2. And well, what can you say about that other than a good way to wrap things up here, Wilson?
Yeah, I think you defined it perfectly. That's a good way to wrap up things here because we've seen a lot of action on the track and especially outside the track tonight, Arjuna. Yeah, but yeah, talking about the race and the great win for Adam Crane. It's been such a impressive season for him. A lot of good races, and not only in the oval side but also in the road side. So yeah, I mean, very good to see. Adam fighting with Austin SPT by the end of the race. I'm pretty sure they were struggling to keep their car on the track. It was not easy for them. So very happy to see such a good race in terms of action inside the track and outside the track. And just for everyone to understand how hard this car can be to drive and to keep on the track, and especially to drive it fast throughout the entire field run, you know.
And I think it gives you an indication of the amount of skill, seeing the pace difference that we had, almost 2, 3, maybe even 4 seconds between some of these drivers. Let's take a look at these race results. It is VRS Satellite Racing's Adam Crane, your championship leader, that takes the checkered flag. But my, oh my, was he forced to work for it. But at the end of the day, last man standing, he takes the victory. Only 7/10 back to Austin Espity. I'm sure Espity will be pretty happy with how his race went. About 5 seconds back after the opening couple of laps, but to be that close to victory, he'll be thrilled with his performance here. Philip Kraus rounds out the podium after making a bit of a mistake through the penultimate corner coming to the pit stop window. He will cycle himself into 3rd with Isaac Morris 4th. John Martin rounding out the top 5, but you can see 20 seconds between 4th and 5th positions. Just illustrates that if we had a couple more survivors, there may have been some other drivers making their way in there. Chris Wilhite, as I said, he'll be delighted with a 6th place finish. RaceSpot's own Lorenzo Bonder, we've caught your mistakes, Lorenzo, because I can see you've snuck your way into the commentary booth here. He ends up in 7th after an interesting battle with Maxwell Brown, who got involved with a number of incidents, but Brown comes home in 8th. Alexis Newsom, 9th, with Sayandra disappointed, I'm sure, in 10th position. Alexander Van der Sant will be in 11th, with Jacob Oster in 12th. Of course, we see Jacob having a bit of fun at the conclusion of this race. Then we get to the cars one lap down, and, well, there's going to be a lot of them. Antonio Protas, Zachary Flom, Eric Miller, Don Day, and Nathan Rees. That's 13th through 17th. Connor Harrington, well, he was hip-checked at the start of the race and didn't even get through in towards turn number 2, but does recover to an 18th position, of course, sitting in the top 10 of this championship, along with Robin Glennox, who had a bit of a torrid day. He ends this in 19th position. Andrew Ellis rounds out your top 20 with Evan Adams in 21st position. Rashad Craig, David Graybill, and Jeff Pless 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, with Clint Martin and Victor Aoud in 26th. Of course, Victor, we saw that hard hit into the tire barrier for him in the number 17 car. He was one of our first retirements of this race. Of course, fastest lap did go to Alexis Newsom. It was aided by push to pass, but at the end of the day, she will be delighted to start bringing some of those performances we've seen on the ovals into these road courses. Let's dial up your race winner, VRS Satellite Racing's Adam Crane. And Adam, how are you feeling right now? Because that was a bit of a wacky race from what we saw up here in the commentary booth.
Yeah, that's a mixed bag of emotions race. Obviously, I'm happy to get the win. I'm pretty not pleased with how lap 1 went, just because there was contact I made with Connor, who was fast in the practice sessions before, and I know that he really likes Phillip Island, and I would have loved to have raced him. But yeah, not good, that contact. It just sort of looks like we kind of met. I got a 3-wide call from Sai on my outside, so I felt kind of stuck. But as far as the race in entirety, had a good little battle with Phil there for a little while. The gap was sort of springing in and out, which was cool. But then he had a little accident and lost the rear of the car, and I also had a little accident, little brain fart after I left the pits on cold tires and cost myself a bunch of time, and hopefully ended up with a little bit of an exciting battle between me and Austin, which was a lot of fun.
And in that final battle that you had with Austin, I did want to ask, how close was it and how worried were you? Because we saw side by side in the penultimate couple of laps there, down the inside at turn 1, which I didn't necessarily think was the right way. I thought defending the outside was very much where you wanted to be. Was that your main focus, sticking on that outside line, which of course gives you the inside in through the southern loop?
Yeah, absolutely. Wanting to make sure that I had the inside for turn 2 was the play there. You can pretty much run, well, you can run turn 1 flat out, so it's just a matter of making sure that you got enough space to the inside and that you don't run yourself out of track on the left. And luckily for me, Austin was a good sport and played ball and left me some room. He actually was a real good sport in a few different places, just because of how just evil the car felt, especially at the hairpin. So props to him, and yeah, great race.
Let's look forward, Adam, because it's been a difficult 2021 in terms of your ISO WC run, but of course going to the Brickyard for our final race of the season, you'll be lining up in 19th position. What are you hoping for 500 miles of racing from Speedway Indiana?
I'm hoping that there are a few more strategy options other than what happened with the Open Indy 500, which we qualified for earlier this year in the VRS Satellite Racing cars. The lack of strategy meant trying to get some track position almost impossible, and we feel like we've got a really good satellite racing car, so if we're able to play ourselves up towards the top 5 or 10, say with 50 or so laps to go, which I know is the strategy for everyone, but I think we'll be in with a fair shake for a good result.
Congratulations on the win here and extending your championship advantage. Go off and celebrate with your teammates, Sayandra.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
So that was Adam Crane, your race winner. And let's now dial up Austin Espety, who got through the chaos on the start, made his way through, I'm sure, even more carnage and chaos to work his way into that battle for the race lead. Austin, talk to us about this race from your perspective, because one by one they started dropping like flies from the front, and you suddenly ended up in a fight for the race lead.
Yeah, the start was very chaotic. I think it was Max kept lunging into the hairpin, and I lost touch on Sai and Adam. But then once Max spun, I just head down, charged up, and then once Phil wrecked and I saw Sai got the speeding penalty, I came out like, I think it was like 3.8, and then Adam spun, and it was just head down and try to fight for the win.
How much fun was this, Austin? Because I think we saw relatively low participation, but it really is a similar sort of track to Mid-Ohio and Barbara that we see in the U.S., but elevation changes, a few high-speed corners to make things interesting. How much fun did you have here for 35 laps?
Oh, this track is an absolute blast. I love it. It's favorite track. Car combo definitely is up there with the Dallara LMP2. But hopefully it's on the schedule more often, because it's definitely fun to race, and as you can tell, you can keep up in the draft, and makes for good racing.
This weekend, the ISOWC comes to a close. You'll be lining up in 12th position. You are one of the few drivers to risk it, to put it all out there and use all three of your runs and potentially not locking yourself into the field on Saturday. What was that like for you coming into the qualifying session a little bit late and having to work your way through that period of trying something different, working on that second run, which is a bit slower, and then bouncing back in run number 3? It's a lot of fun, but of course there's still 500 miles of action still to go.
Yeah, it was definitely nerve-wracking going out in the second attempt and seeing I was that much slower. And I didn't think I was going to be able to put myself back up in the 12th in the third run, but nailed all 4 laps as best as I could, as the track was pretty much gone, and put ourselves 12th, which should put us on the outside of row 4, which is a good spot to be in for the start of the race, right on the outside.
You guys looked like you were very strong in qualifying. Let's see how things go then for you this coming Saturday in the ISOWC 500.
Should be fun.
So that was Austin Espety. And one last interview, since Phil Kraus doesn't want to join us from his own island, Phillip Island. Lorenzo Bonder makes his way into the RaceSpotTV commentary booth. And Lorenzo, first up, I just have to tell you, we caught everything. If you go back and watch it, you'll see all of those replays live on this RaceSpotTV broadcast.
I did see that some of my mishaps, especially the hairpin incident, that I didn't know who actually spun at the hairpin. But luckily for me, I honestly thought that I had a broken wing, to be very honest with you. But the car just kept going. I didn't lose any speed whatsoever. I just had major performances while going off in the second to last corner, because the car just decided to kind of understeer heavily and nearly going off track. But I was involved in a draft lock with Maxwell Brown, who I got involved again. But it's racing stuff. But you can see the pace was still there. I managed to get a P8, and it's unfortunate for Rashad to actually get an incident at the late portion of the race. But still, good experience.
And Wilson had maybe tried to point it out, because I was a bit confused, Lorenzo, because I thought your pace might have been quicker than Brown, given that he had some front wing damage. Did you also have a little bit of front wing damage? Because it was a little bit hard to see up here.
I did. I was looking back at my screen. I have a little bit of a scratch on the right-hand side of the front wing. That enough. It's not. It isn't broken or bent, but it is enough for you to actually lose performance while going to some of the slow corners, especially the left-hand corners. Because on the right-hand side, I was getting everything, no major problems. But that was actually enough for me to get some performance issues. And then I think I had some issues on the diffuser on the second touch. But the car was still running for some reason. I only had 5 seconds of repairs when I went to the pit lane, believe it or not.
So what you're saying is if you had a few more RaceSpotTV stickers, you would have been A-OK.
I would have been A-OK. Probably it would have been 6th or 5th. I'll be very honest. I did have a good pace. I could have maybe done top 5 if everything had gone right. But it happens, you know. The best thing you can do is have these kind of recovery races. And I have a league race next Saturday here in Brazil that Wilson actually commentates. So I have a good idea how to actually proceed to that race. It gave me some good data.
Well, thanks for joining us, Lorenzo. Before we say goodbye here live on RaceSpotTV, let's take one more look at our season schedule, because, Wilson, we are into the back half of the season now. We go short track racing next time from Richmond. That was going to be a interesting challenge, if I can put it that way. But we've got 2 of these short tracks before we head to a very interesting oval to close things off. Adam Crane is well and truly in control of the championship, but there's still plenty to play for further back in this standings.
Yeah, there's still plenty of room for other players to challenge Crane for the championship as well. But yeah, Crane had another great night with huge championship points in this race tonight, which is great for him. And yeah, next week, really looking forward to Richmond, because short ovals are always a fun race with a lot of actions, and especially the drivers doing side-by-sides and all that stuff that we love to see in Indy. I myself, I don't like to race short ovals very much, but yeah, I do like to watch those races and to watch the strategies, because sometimes if you short pit, you're under the risk of maybe going 1 or 2 laps down. So yeah, let's keep an eye on the championship. The thing is still going on, and I'm really looking forward to see next week's race, Arjuna.
And, I mean, after that, we head to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the road course there for what might be the final time in this specific configuration, because the iRacing trucks have been spotted in Speedway, Indiana. There may be a new version of IMS coming here to the iRacing.com service. It, though, is time to say goodbye once more on a Monday night. There is plenty of IndyCar action to come this week, so make sure to follow us for all your sim racing action across of YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and Instagram. Do make sure you hit that red button to subscribe to us on YouTube, and hit the bell to get notified every single time we go live with a great sim racing series we get to cover. Lionheart IndyCar Series, they head across the pond to Silverstone for 34 laps of action as Adam Blocker continues his hunt for a 4th consecutive Lionheart IndyCar title. This weekend on Saturday, July 31st, the ISO WC comes to a close. 6 p.m. UTC, you can catch the ISO WC 500 as we make the pilgrimage to Speedway, Indiana. On behalf of the entire team at RaceSpotTV, thank you for tuning in here on a Monday night. My co-commentator Wilson Nato has been alongside myself, Arjuna Kankipati. We've had TV cameras brought to us by Istvan Ballo and TrackCams22.com with some additional car cameras designed by RaceSpot's own Tyler Maxson. We'll see you next time, but for now, so long and goodbye.